Started the draft already. No more issues. Everybody in OCE, get those eyes wide open because we are beginning. Peace on blue, red on red.
And now, Red Canids will ban away the misfortune. They've taken away Tally's Irelia. So already coming prepared to the series. It's not the first team to ban the Irelia away. One of the most highly contested picks here at the World Championship for 2021. The question is what comes third, because the Rise will be taken away, and this does mean the Lilia is available. Not going to be first pick priority, but something to consider here for Peace moving forward in this draft. They'll take the Lucian, which is very strong right now. Compare that with a lot of strong supports on the bottom side of the map. Second highest tier in terms of the 80 carries. But now you've taken away that Visitachi Engage tool that we found so much success with there in the group stage leading up to this elimination match in the Canon. They'll also grab Aegis's Lee Sin, which is one of her stronger champions.
Yeah, definitely a couple of good choices. You're not really going to pick away any supports at this point in time. And we'll see if they give more thought to their 80 carrier if it does get third picked for them on the side of Red Canids. But the Tsunami, definitely one of the choices alongside of Lucian. Everybody heard about how strong this duo is coming into Worlds. And of course, Lucian will be popping off with that help. So we'll see how that does go for them.
It hasn't been as successful, I think, as a lot of analysts predicted, and it's even been often ignored by a lot of teams. But, you know, considering how strong this bot lane can be, I think it's a really strong option here this early in the draft. Now, moving away from both the Nidalee that's open that we've seen so much out of Baba, and also away from the Lilia. We've seen them find so much success with late game engages. They're actually going to take the Rumble here. So a very unusual pick here this early in the tournament. Now, could be flexed, of course, to a solo lane. But right now, the assumption is going to be that it's going to be for that jungle. As we will see the Leona, very hotly contested pick, will be taken away before the 80 carry here. So now, on the side of Peace, you have the ability to narrow down what Teton can play with this.
Yeah, definitely will be a good option for them. Of course, I mean, there's so many mid lane champions that are still left available, even with a couple of bans that we did see. So I don't think banning away mid lanes is going to be a great idea, unless you want to specifically target one thing away. But we will have to wait and see, as Nocturne is going to be taken off the board here, so not going to see that from Peace this time around.
Yeah, taking that one off the board means that Red Canids also are thinking this is going to be solo lane Rumble. We see the Callista removed here as the first option to take that away from Teton. Can definitely be something that you can have a lot of power with early on in the lane against a duo that is so oppressive in the Nami and Lucian. Could also now remove, as you see, the Tryndamere gets taken out. They're just banning all the champions that Peace have found success with in the group stage. You could now see the Ezreal potentially banned here as well. End up being fine for the later stages of the game. We've already got really nice engage and pick potential with the Lee Sin, and the Kennen. You have that later scaling, it's going to be quite strong. They decide to take away the Kai'Sa because the Kai'Sa does also go into that sort of theme, especially when you do have that Leona. But I think the Ezreal is the stronger pick here. Hovered for a moment there for Teton, and that's what I expect them to lock in, and there it is.
Yeah, Ezreal definitely one of the best things that is left available. That lane can be a bit weak, especially early on, so we'll expect Violet and Aladoric to have a pretty fun time early, but we'll see how well Teton can do as this game does come along. Now we're looking at more picks for the side of Peace. There will be one Sylas that does get taken off the board. Already a lot of great ultimates to steal, especially in terms of utility and damage. You think about Leona and the Kennen that is there. And we should be expecting Tally to be picking that one up, as Red Canids had not been showing their mid lane just yet.
Jarvan to be the final pick here, coming through for Peace, looks to be, as it's hovered here. The real question now for Red Canids is what's going to be the mid lane here, because Grevthar has such a wide champion pool. He's one of the most talented players to come out of the region. A lot of pressure on this player, and we'll see what he ends up having to lane against Tally Sylas with. Obviously a really, really strong pick where you can make high impacts through the mid game, control a lot of those early objectives.
Yeah.
As we see how that pick comes through, I think it's really going to shape how Red Canids draft works, because right now it's got good engage, it has pick potential. And Kled is one of the picks that Grevthar actually used as a counter pick to the Sylas specifically. You go back to playoffs, he actually played it twice in the regular season, or actually once in regular season and once in playoffs, specifically against the Sylas in mid lane. It's a really odd pick. It doesn't scream something that you'd normally see, but it has a lot of dual potential, and it's something that Grevthar has found a lot of success with. It's one of his specific counter picks from his region. Yeah, I didn't expect we'd see it come out here. I thought if we saw it, we'd see it in the group stage for sure. But with Silas coming through, he's going to lock it in. It's also the Rumble going to the top side of the map.
Yeah, absolutely into that cannon. And yeah, I mean, this is the time to pull it out, right? It's all on the line. You got to walk this walk all the way through play-ins and try to make it through all the best of fives. And if he has a pop-up performance on this one in game one, that might even be a considered ban. You know, it's something that really throws a wrench into the works if Peace are not ready for this. So really glad we get to see it here in game number one. I know you were itching to get that point out there, and he actually did pick it. So really cool to see, as even Tally's having a little giggle after watching that. And we'll see, you know, how Greftar matches up. Can he pull off a Doomb type performance on this mid-Kled?
That's the question, right? I mean, it's something that you can become famous for, right? This could be a new rising star from Brazil here for Red Canids. You know, you end up taking out Tally, who's very experienced here. If you can end up winning this first game with such a unique pick here, it's definitely going to be something that fans will remember for, you know, many, many years to come, especially the Brazilian fans who are cheering. Yeah. They know this pick. They watched it in their home region. And this is what's so exciting about a best of 5, too, is in a best of 1, yeah, this feels like a really sick pick, but you can only do this once in a best of 5, so you will have to evolve. The draft will have to change. And there's no doubt in my mind the Peace, you know, Oregon, their coaching staff, knew about this potential counter pick, and they feel very confident they could deal with it. As we got a pause, seems to be you and I's curse tonight for us, today for people elsewhere in the world.
Trying to put on the Aussie accent. I see you. I see you. Yeah, I don't know what this one is about, guys. Sorry about this delay, but we will try to get it solved as soon as possible. And, yeah, no, I mean, this is, you know, Greftar looks really happy with the way it's going, even with the pause. I mean, he got to play this pick already in game number 1. And I was thinking about, you know, like potential mid lanes that could go into it. I was thinking about some control mages, but at the end of the day, it would have been like way too much AP damage. And I really love just going again for kind of what's working in the meta nowadays. We see a lot of AD mid laners. Obviously, the Tryndamere coming in here big, and a Kled. I mean, why not? He even went for no flash, by the way. He went teleport ignite. Yeah. So this is all pressure all the time. He's got Conqueror. He's going to be running at the Silas, and he's going to say, yeah, sure, if you want to throw down, I mean, I'm always down. I'm Kled, right? So it's going to be really interesting to see how hard he can pop off.
They also have the Lee Sin that can pair with this really well to try to really snowball that lane and to try to keep Silas down, prevent him from actually making that impact that we see so often through the mid game. And if you play the control mage into this, that you were mentioning, the AP damage is an issue, but it's also somewhat of an issue of dealing with the risk factor, right? In play-ins, you know, we see a lot more solo kills than you see at some of the higher tiers of pro play in some of our major regions. So you end up falling behind against the Silas at this stage, and Tally starts to pop off, gets those first few items online, and sometimes the game could snowball against you. And as was mentioned by the desk, and we talked about it, you know, if you can think back, way back to our first draft cast before we went back to the desk and all that. Like I did mention this earlier, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I do want to mention again that the strength of this team so far has been leaning into their laning, right? And that's why if you end up playing something like Control Mage, you don't necessarily have as much power necessarily in that lane. And if you do fall behind, the tempo goes so far against you that I like this pick a lot more.
Yeah, well, it looks like this pause is not going to allow us any time for the podcast, so sorry for you podcast enjoyers out there in the chat. We will just get right back into the League of Legends, and that's really what we want to get going on, right? It's 150 here in Korea. We're starting off with game number 1, and I'm just really excited to get into the League of Legends and actually be casting these games, as Red Cat is just going to move in as a team, get a ward down, as Aladoric doesn't have a scanner just yet.
Not quite. Going to be able to clear that one away. We'll see Visitachi on this Rumble. Fairly fragile pick up here on the top side. Doesn't have a lot of mobility, and this is the path that a lot of teams have actually attacked Peace most directly. As Visitachi returns to pro play here, again, he's a stand-in if you're tuning in for the first time here for Peace. And so we've seen a lot of teams really try to collapse on and dominate the top side of the map. So something to look out for here against this Rumble pick. Again, a very rare one in this meta to see come through.
And as we did mention about 20 minutes ago, Violet and Aladoric here on the Lucian Nami should be dominating this lane early on. I mean, the Lucian Nami, we know what it can bring in terms of dueling potential. Its lane power is pretty insane. You know, the Ezreal in the super late game, if he does get 3-4 items, he is going to be enjoying his time. But we've seen a lot of Lucians, especially nowadays, how there's like so many enablers for him and how strong he is even in this bottom lane alongside of the strong supports. How much work he can do even as the game goes to 30, 40 minutes long.
Yeah. And the reason why this is so oppressive is because Nami has insane sustain, but she can also empower Lucian's auto attacks with her E. So she becomes a really oppressive duo to deal with, and that's part of the reason why we did see that Kalista ban come through, because it's one of the champions that can deal with this early. But look at the damage.
Oh, he's going in. Violet's already looking for the kill, but the Ignite is down from JoJo as 1Q is going to do it. Titan moves forward and gets the kill. First blood to him, but Aladoric trying to fight back. He's going to miss on that Zenith Blade, and now he's chasing JoJo down with this range advantage. The one stun goes the way of JoJo, but it will be one ability and an auto from Aladoric, and at least he will pick up a couple of kills.
Very greedy to look for that fight as Red Cannons here, because you're looking at dealing with, if you end up losing out on this exchange completely, if they end up getting a double on the Lucian early, this lane is basically over. You're going to be sitting under tower. You're not going to be involved in this game. Like, you might actually lose a game off of that moment. And if he doesn't hit that Q and actually secure that kill, this could look even worse. Luckily for Red Cannons, 2 of the kills, both of them, go to Aladoric on the Nami. So that's going to be a little bit less gold going over to Violet here. But looking for the re-engage is so aggressive because they're not in turret aggro range here. And yes, the Ignite will hit. They do get the stun there. And look at that. If that does not connect, this situation is way more dire, and it still ends up being a double going over to Aladoric.
It's just a crazy reaction time from Titan to communicate with his support and say, okay, I'm going to land the stun even with this flash. And just, you know, a big gamer moment there, I suppose you can say. Was the idea to go in there the right one? Not 100% sure, as you were highlighting, Wolf. But at the end of the day, I suppose at least Titan is ahead of Violet in terms of gold.
It also resets the lane back to the center here, and you get to kind of get a new lease on the matchup. You have a small experience lead as well here as Titan with that kill coming through. So there are some really good reasons why this play was made, and if it had gone a little bit better, if it was a more ideal scenario, it could have actually led to a pretty nice advantage. They've got a small CS lead at the moment. But if you look at the mid lane, it's been, you know, Grevthar kind of continuing to push through. Wants to clear that control ward out, but will be unable to do so. He's actually held this on put this pressure onto Tally pretty successfully here.
We can see this matchup in the mid lane presented by Mercedes. Tally versus Grevthar. It's going to be going head-to-head, and this is really the one to highlight, especially not even just for this best of one, because we do see the Kled, but also for this entire matchup. Could see a lot of fire between these two mid laners that have made a big name for themselves. Grevthar a little bit more recently, you could say, but either way, still good.
It's a very slow-paced game to start things off between these two. Obviously, with the group that we had, with LNG and Hanolife Esports at the top, a lot of the games played in this group were extremely early game focused, a lot of aggression, a lot of kills early, but this one, you know, yes, we did see the 3 kills early on, but it is very much focused around the laning phase and not actually ganking. As Vizitachi takes a really nice trade here against Gigo on the top side of the map. Yep. But I actually expected this to be a little bit more action everywhere, especially with this Lee Sin pick. Doesn't have level 6 just yet.
He actually denied that cannon with that teleport. That was really cute. Nice play from Tally. And that's going to be kind of awkward for Grevthar. He's just going to back away and go for his own teleport, probably, is what we will see. Bobby is down here. He's looking for the Scuttle Crab at the moment. And yeah, as you did mention, I mean, both the junglers especially, they're just kind of farming out the jungles, going for the Scuttle Crabs. Nothing much else is doing for them. They haven't been looking for any plays elsewhere. As we do see the two jungles kind of clashing around the bottom side of the map, there's going to be some vision, and now a teleport coming in. Violet in some trouble, but the bubble is huge as Aegis, he takes a long time to get this kill, and finally he does. But can they get a bit more? Bobby is going to go down as well to the side of Kled. as JoJo is trying to frontline here, and Greftar is just going to leave him out to dry. Not much he could do to try to help him, as now Gigo comes into the fight. They're going to try to take this 2v3, but the exhaust comes in, and Red Cannons have overextended. Aladoric is right there to shut that down.
It's going to be a lot of extra gold going over to the side of Peace, and you can understand the idea there with Gigo coming in and looking for that engage. He hit level 6, he wanted to teleport in and hit that slicing maelstrom, but sometimes you got to know when it's time to just step back and go, okay, I used my teleport here, but this is no longer a situation where I want to engage, because now you've kind of gone all in on the sunk cost fallacy, use your flash and the slicing maelstrom and don't come up with anything, end up giving more gold over the side of Peace. So you can see how this engage starts here. Ward gets dropped. Violet in a very, very vulnerable spot. That's such a huge Aqua Prism there to actually slow down the chase. Still ends up going down here, but now you're so deep as Red Cannons, and you see the teleport is so delayed here from Gigo. By the time he gets here, his teammate is already dead, and he still decides to go for the flash here. Not able to catch Mizisachi, who's got the faster flash, and does end up getting picked off. So big overextension here, massive kills going over to the side of Peace.
Yeah, good response from Peace to just get the wraparound there, as now Gigo in a little bit of trouble. He does not have his flash. He had to burn it on the play in the river, and that is a perfect follow-up. Look at the timing right here, 7 minutes 55. Bobbitt goes up to the top side, has some help on the gank, and they will start up that Rift Herald.
Yeah, it's going to be such a massive play here, because you know that not only have you gotten that tempo advantage, but Gigo has to rush back to lane as quickly as possible. He's desperate to grab that CS. He doesn't have flash. You're the perfect spot to turn that pick into a Rift Herald. Even if you don't get the kill, you should be able to force him under turret, but they get the kill and they're going to get the Rift Herald with this. And unfortunately for Red Cans, they didn't have enough control over the bot side of the map at that stage to look for a Drake play counterwise. So everything looking great for Peace right now. They've got full control over this map.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you could say, I suppose, for the Red Cannons is that they, as a team, they realized very quickly, okay, we lost our top laner. We cannot go in on this Rift Herald, right? We have to sacrifice it. Just give it up. And so they looked for opportunities elsewhere on the map. They were actually able to zone away Violet from about, you know, half a wave, maybe a full wave down in the bottom side. You see, even the plate didn't go down, but, you know, that's really the one thing they were able to get. But I do like that they don't do you know, what some of our lower LCK teams would do, which is just bang their heads against the wall and run at the Rift Herald and desperately try to challenge it, because they just said, okay, we lost that objective. We don't even have teleport on Gigo, so just let it go and get something else on the map.
Oh, we talked about how this Sylas pick against control mages can be something that gets out of hand if you make some mistakes in lane, something that shouldn't happen, right? But we do already have a kill and an assist going over to Tally. He's now picked up a Dark Seal, so he's looking to carry that momentum forward here. And this is where things can really start to get scary for Red Cannons, because, hold that thought, speaking of mid lane.
Trying to force this here, Tally. Both going to proc their Conquerors. Bobbitt, meanwhile, is nearby, but you see Aegis is up a level, as now we get the double lockup here with the wave, but the culling comes in. Is it enough damage, as the 1Q is going to get the job done, as emotes go flying? And Titani's even trying to challenge this one, the flash forward, and in he goes. The exhaust was held onto, and it will be a double kill for Violet as Titan gets the one. But we're not done yet. It's going to be a dead Sylas in the mid lane as he gets charged on with not much escapability for him.
Now this is the kind of action I expected to see at the beginning of this series. We had a pretty slow early game outside of that bot exchange, but now the sparks are really starting to fly here. Gigo getting pushed out of lane, but the timing of that first wraparound we saw from Aegis to go to the mid lane was trying to look for that timing where he can actually have that kick advantage, come in there and pick Tally. Doesn't find the success there, but on the second wraparound, he is able to kill the Sylas there, bring a lot of power back to Greftar here. They do trade a kill there on the bottom side of the map. Red Cans fighting tooth and nail. The problem is that these trades are never really equal, and Peace are still getting small advantages, small edges on the map. Vivichachi got a plate on the top side, and this first Drake hasn't been taken just yet, but Peace are in a superior position. Look at the group up now here on the bottom side. That Nami Lucian is still extremely oppressive at this stage, and contesting the Drake right now for Red Cans is just really out of the question.
Absolutely, as we do have Gore Drinker here very early on. Thank you to MasterCard for that one, as now the Rift Herald will be placed down on the bottom side of the map. Try to give some gold over to Violet here, as he will not get any, actually. 320 goes into the pockets of Bobbitt, but it's still a lot of pressure to get this Drake And that's really the big play anyway. That's what they were going for. So they're going to get this one at about 11:30.
So these are the small advantages that you use, you know, in a game like this to try to keep your tempo advantage up, right? You've got a tempo-based bottom lane that has so much pushing power. You have that Rift Herald that you got early off of a big misplay where Gigo loses flash, gets ganked on the follow-up, and all of the steps that Peace are taking here are pretty standard pro play, but the way they're utilizing that pressure, yes, they didn't get the perfect plates there on the bottom side there to Violet, but they utilize the pressure to grab the first Drake. They've got such a nice tempo advantage right now, and we talked about it so much. Red Cannon's successes so far have been around this part of the game where they're the ones who get the tempo advantage. They're the ones who start the leads. They fall off much later on in terms of the decision-making around those late-game objectives and engages, especially when Grepthar's not on something like the set where you can really be that playmaker. And this time they're already starting off a little bit on the back foot. The tempo was against them, so it's going to be a really challenging game to recover from.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to wait and see if guys like Grepthar, who is currently 2-0, keeping up in CS as well, or maybe even the Ezreal, who, as we can tell, Titan looks very angry. He sees action, he goes in on the action. There is no stop button for this guy. And he's picked up a couple of kills. So in terms of that, it's going to get his Ezreal online a little bit faster. As, yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate down there. But it is okay. They wanted to get their better backs in. As it does look like the supports might go for a little bit of a roam. Maybe JoJo up to the top side. Top lane, Vizicachi, after all that's happened early on, though, he's been really enjoying one of the most comfortable top lanes we've seen. Yeah,
no, he's definitely having one of his best so far of the tournament, taking a very comfortable nearly 30 CS lead right now. He's got 2 kills and an assist, an extra bank. Gigo finally does have his flash, his slicing maelstrom, and his teleport available, but there's no objective to gain value out of this teleport right now, so he's just really sitting under turret here and trying to manage his farm, which is really unfortunate because if he had those summoner spells earlier when those fights did break out, he could have actually made such a huge impact. His teleport was so late the last time he used it. So we're going to see a big roam here, spotted by that massive control ward here.
Yeah, that ward gets so much value for them. And maybe Grepthar just assumes that there's a regular ward around them. But let's see how long that control ward will get value here for the side of pieces. We're going in. The exhausts are out as well, able to dodge the wave coming on in. As now the ultimate is going to get the job done here for Titan. As he finally will get the upper hand down here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Bobov is around though. They can try to turn this.
Looking to try as JoJo in a little bit of an unlucky spot, trying to get aggressive, solving some vision, and he should be taken down here eventually. Titan not able to help him out all too much, as it's not like he brought heal. He has exhaust this game.
Still a lot of really important gold for the Ezreal that is going to come online much later to be picked up. And these trades we're seeing from Red Cannons have really started to help him get online. They're accelerating him forward faster than he would be. Yes, it's at a cost because the Lucian is getting some power too, but the Ezreal is going to be so strong the later phases of the game. And trading like this makes his road to that late game path a lot more comfortable. You can see as we go back down to the bottom side here, Bob and Aladork are going to go ahead and take the turret away from him. But that engage we saw too from Violet. Hold that thought.
Oh, we're getting in there. That stun, not able to lock him down for long enough, and he's just going to hop off a Scarl. JoJo going to make this a little bit easier for him as well. And Grepthar will be just fine. Nice little trade, though, as now the charge has been picked up by the hijack of Tally.
That's going to force him to back here to remount. We'll be okay. He was able to CS off of that with his Q. His dismounted fled. Loves to do with those weak minions is once again another exchange up here going to force the rush out of Gigo. And this has just been, you mentioned it earlier, I feel like the most comfortable Vizicachi lane we've seen all tournament long. Nobody is really able to put the pressure on him. He's not being capped. He's so ahead, has his Proto Belt up super early, or Rocket Belt I should say, so early that he's so survivable, can actually chase and harass. I mean, the control that is in this top side of the map is so comfortable right now for Peace that they can keep their focus on the bottom side. So we'll see a rotation up here from Titan.
Yeah, looks like they want to make a play here with the charge and the Rift Herald, but have they gone too far? That's a lot of Lucian damage for free into the back of Grepthar as the stolen charge is going to get on in there. A 3-man knockup from Bobbit, but he's taken a lot of damage. Down he will go as here comes Gigo now. He's going to pick up a bunch of them in the backside. Does get exhausted, but still is going to get a lot of damage done as Titan. He's going to get bubbled now. Has to flash that one. as that was looking so good to start here for the Red Cannons.
Yeah, Titan here actually buffering that away, just barely escapes getting locked down. He's looking for a kill.
Oh, no! He just got totally outplayed. Titan's like, sorry, dude, you can't stay here. Titan, he is so angry in this game. He is out for blood.
I feel like Titan is just like, I don't care what's happening. I don't care what I'm up against. I don't care what the stakes are. Never tell me the odds. He is just forcing these kills to happen. And this time he's like, well, you know I'm ranged. You know I'm going to keep autoing you. Down tally goes, and that's a kill that just should not have happened. Greftar is actually going to come up here and pick up a flash. It's action everywhere in this first game of this best of 5. And as it stands, you know, this is now an Ezreal. I was talking about how he's trading kills, coming back at this, but has 5 kills at this stage of the game, and this just shouldn't be happening. So watch how the start of this fight goes. You feel very comfortable, you feel very safe as Peace here, because you have the Nami ultimate to kind of buffer this attack and then re-engage. And look at the engage here from Bob. If he gets all the way to the back with the flag drag, but Greftar doesn't get dismounted until too late, so they're easily able to turn this. And yes, Gigo's finally able to get some value out of the teleport, does get traded down, and then this happens. The buffer allows Titan to survive, and then Tally just walks right up. This is the most puzzling part.
It never ends, Wolf. Are they going to go in on this? It is Kled, and he still has Skarl, so will not actually play out here. As Gigo now just going to go down to the bottom side and look to push this turret, and immediately, like we were saying, you know, this Ezreal gets some time. The Kled, he's also still online, still 2-0-1. Rift Herald's going to be dropped down here. Red Cannons, they're coming back with the force in a mid-game. That is really nice to see.
Yeah, it really is, and now they're going to look for this extra inner turret value, worth more than the outer, and they're going to get it here. And that's a lot of extra gold going into the pockets of these Red Cannons members, including Titan, who's already getting quite fed. What's scary about this for Peace is that, hold that thought.
Greftar is so confident right now. He's charging quite literally into the 3 of them. He hops off Skarl, though, as his team takes forever to get here, and down he will go. As Bobit, now he's got a stopwatch. It's going to buy so much time for him to survive. And there's the double kill now into the pockets of Violet, and this is going all Peace's way. Look at Tally. He has no chill right now. He's in the enemy jungle alone. His own team is like, why are you going so deep, buddy? As down he will go. Maybe it was just a great bait after all, as the flash comes in, and at least they will be able to pick up Gigo. As Titani might not be done yet. He picks up a kill, and this is just getting out of control right now.
I didn't think anything could top the last series. I didn't think anything could top it in terms of kills per minute and the amount of action we were seeing, but Red Cannon said, hold my Ezreal, because look, now he's got 6 kills here, so we will see a teleport.
Bob abused his flag. He doesn't have flash either. And yeah, just gonna wait on that one. A little bit of BM coming out. He might have his flag now, but still not going to be enough health to survive. And that's a nice kill onto the jungler here as they're running towards the mid lane. Doesn't look like they'll go for the Barons.
Some of that deep vision is going to be key when these teleports are available and getting pickoffs. You know, both teams are really wrestling for control of these waves, and when you're not really playing a 5v5 game of League of Legends, when there's action non-stop and part of your team is always dead, clearing those wards away is essential, but it's also dangerous. So I'm not sure which action we're going back to here for the new Axe Effect replay. We're actually going back to Greftar. How long he holds us. Now, the problem with this play initially is that there is no teleport to match, and this is not a game where you're looking at Ghost Blades on your AD carry, Ghost Blade on your jungler. So maybe what you're looking at here as Greftar is you're thinking the rotation over is going to be a lot faster, but not with the champions they have, not with Gigo having his teleport down again. So he ends up getting caught there, doesn't end up being the play they want. A little bit of an overextension here for Tally, but they still trade up.
Yeah, I mean, at least they get Gigo, who's probably not worth all too much, but still able to get that really nice angle here. Titan, as we're getting the super cool angles now, gonna take down the poor Nami, and is not able to get the other guy. But that is fine. Still great for Titan. He gets another one, and Bobby, he's having some trouble. You know, he's gone for this Gore Drinker combo, as you will normally see, but he's kind of falling apart like paper because he's getting so far into the back line, but he's ending up being the only person there, and Red Cannons just focus him down, and he just dies so quick.
The other thing is that Titan is so fed at this stage, and no one can really threaten him. There's no assassin that's going to be able to chase down this Ezreal because he's so mobile already, and Sylas can't be everywhere he is. He needs to sit back and farm. So whenever you get caught out like that, you're just going to get picked. Speaking of getting caught out,
Vizicachi, you know, just taking a nice little long walk by himself through the jungle, and at least he's able to get out of that one alive. This dragon about to spawn as well. Both teams have a dragon apiece. One Infernal, one Mountain. It is Cloud Soul. Yeah, looks like Red Cannons want to focus on that one.
Yeah, and if that was the vision control is map split. The bottom side of the map is much more controlled by Red Cannons. The top side of the map obviously controlled by Peace right now in terms of that warding. And it's a bit of a battle in terms of clearing that vision. But what Red Cannons have been able to do so successfully here is actually look for picks when Peace decide to go into that vision to try to clear it away. And yes, you're going to see Peace get a little bit of value there on the top side, but Red already got that earlier turret. They're now going to pick up a second Drake here. It's going to be the first Cloud towards the Cloud Soul. And the value that you get here without getting this turret is not the same for Peace. So having that vision on the bottom side of the map is a lot more successful. It's a lot more impactful at this stage of the game. Later on, yeah, you're going to want that vision control around the Baron pit. But at this stage, very much Red Cannons favored. In this game, which looked like it was starting off so well for Peace, they had such a great control over the bottom side of the map, got that early gold lead. It's kind of withered away a little bit here. It's still a very close game, don't get me wrong, but the power of what you're going to have between this Rumble versus the Cannon is the Rumble is going to have a lot of late game damage in that initial fight, but the Cannon is going to have a lot of lockdown to start off the fight. He's going to have the CC, so that vision is so important. You've got to make sure you can't teleport behind you to set up for those maelstroms. And look at the vision control once again. Now Red Cannon's going to take it away from the top side of the map.
Yeah, you know, they feel very confident, kind of Teton with red buff, and speaking of which, they're looking for a bit more. Bobbin just goes the other way. He's like, no thank you, sirs. I will not buy what you are selling. And he just gets the hell out of there really, really quickly. Actually, that was a really cute maneuver from the side of Bobbin. But you can see just how scary Teton and crew are. They're looking for the engage. That's a nice idea. Teton doesn't have anything up. He doesn't flash. He doesn't exhaust. Accepts his death. And there's Bobbin finding the perfect time to engage. And it looks like they'll start up the Baron.
This is such a huge moment for Peace. I said it was really hard to lock Teton down, but from that angle, they just didn't see it coming. And without that damage, you just can't fight this anymore. This is a really awkward spot to be in for Red Cannons. There's the teleport.
Yeah, we have the teleport coming in. They're just trying to kill the enemy jungler, and the stun comes down with the solar flare, and it will be enough. Gigo is able to take down a lot of the damage, though. Takes the bottom lane away from the side of Peace, as Gigo will eventually hit the ground. But you can see that Peace now with the Lucian down. They cannot do the Baron.
Now, this isn't a great trade for Red Cannons in terms of kills per kills, but the investment in the teleport, the flash that Gigo had to use there, these are tools you have to expend if you want to stop the Baron, because without Teton here, you're not going to have the damage to actually push them off of it. Luckily, they had that control ward with that deep vision they've had so consistently throughout this first game. He gets into the back line there, is able to get a kill, push them off it, had to expend both summoners to do so, but it's so critical. And how many times have we seen the choke point around Rift Herald, the choke point around Baron, be such a death grip, be such a chokehold when these cannon teleports come through? And yes, Peace do get that pick onto Teton, which allows them to start it. And it's really unfortunate you've got to expend both summoners here as Gigo. But look at the angle he comes in here. It's so late, but it's so necessary, because if he doesn't come in here, they just clean up Aegis, they clean up Brevdar, and they just turn right back on the Baron. So this is so important. You're not trading up in gold, but getting that Baron at this stage of the game would be so massive for Peace. It's a lose-lose scenario, but they took the lesser of the two evils.
They absolutely did, and you can see the reaction here from the side of Peace. Gigantic high fives, some of the biggest I've ever seen from the guys in the back there. As you can see, Peace, they're really happy with the trade up at the end of the day anyway. Pretty big gold swing into their favor, I believe about 3,000. And it shows that Teton can't just do whatever he wants, right? If he's going to eat forward, he's going to get jumped on by Jarvan. That's one of the things that Jarvan can do, something like a Rakan, right? You have to respect the engaged potential of these picks on the enemy side. So it doesn't matter if you're a super fed Ezreal if you're going to eat forward in that moment. So see if he can respect that. We are going to see the equalizer come down here. It's got a pretty low cooldown at this point in time. Vizicachi nearing level 16 at this point.
I mean,
Nami trying to poke it down.
Nami is such a squishy support, but if she can actually lock down a single target that is vulnerable, you know, JoJo being one of the toughest ones to actually kill off of a bubble like that, It's so much power, so appreciate the attempt there. They've got the equalizer now on cooldown, so Red decide, okay, they don't have equalizer, they're not in a position to contest this, we have the choke point control, we have Slicing Maelstrom, we're going to start this Baron and force them to come to us.
Yeah, and Teton didn't use any of his summoners in the last fight. Remember that he kind of just accepted his death. Might come into play here this time around. See Gigo trying to play bodyguard in the front line as Violet nearly able to chop down Aegis, but you can see he went a little bit too far forward. He's going to get taken out immediately. Bobbitt has no chance either, as now we have the cannon coming in as well, and there's just no help at all for the side of Peace as Vizitachi, you see he's getting his equalizer now. We wish he would have had it for this fight as Peace overcommit, and Red should take down the Baron.
Red in such a fantastic spot here now, as it should lead to a Baron. Vizitachi wants to try to steal it away. He's going to actually push Grevthar off of it for the time being by himself. This is going to be enough to maybe kill Gigo.
Hey, well, you can see that Vizitachi's getting some work done, and Teton, he can't seem to believe it. As the poke is coming out here, he is going to expend his flash to get that done, but it's just a kill.
This game is
Vizitachi
insane.
stops the Baron from going down.
This kill is great for Teton to grab, but they stop the Baron, and this is a great play for Vizitachi. He's able to make it happen by himself there. But it's not enough to get Peace back into this game necessarily. He does go down. His death timer is going to be for 30 seconds here. Peace now desperately trying to rush over that Baron pit and clear the five control wards that are around the pit there for the Baron. This gives Red a little bit of time to actually rotate over and take this Dragon. If they end up getting the Baron, they could maybe potentially threaten inhibitors to get the Dragon for free. At least Peace, not only do they stop the Baron, but they can remove some of that critical vision from around. They haven't gotten all the control wards, but they get some of it. But man, they are really struggling to get back control over the map. There was a split map before in terms of the vision. Now it's just so Red Cannon's favored on both sides. They get this vision, but it's only temporary as it's now cleared away.
Yeah, you can see Red Cannons should be pretty happy with their position, especially after that last one. We're going to take a look at the replay and see how it goes down. Violet went so far forward and just took a huge helping of damage straight in his face, and that was so much damage that they lost right from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much damage in this choke point when you have, on top of it all, the cannon with the Slicing Maelstrom. I talked about this happens so much, and then Vizitachi comes through here. The equalizer comes up right now. He instantly uses it here. And look at the damage onto Gigo. He's unable to compete. He's taking the Baron aggro still. It wasn't swapped early enough, so he's just completely pushed off. And 1v4, Vizitachi with a full health bar is able to stop the Baron. Yes, he dies for it. And it's, again, these trades we've been talking about so much around the Baron pit. It's not a trade you want to take. You don't want to die for this, but you can't let them get that critical objective.
I mean, you take a look at their reaction after the play. Red Cannons, they are not happy with this one. They wanted the Baron, and nobody on either side of the rift at this point in time can seem to lock that objective down, as Violet is playing with fire right now. As here's the engage, they're going to look for Bobbitt. He's in a unfortunate spot. Immediately gets locked down. So you got the big wave coming on through, but Grevthar in the front line looking to lock it down. The flash kick not going to quite work out as they are kiting back very nicely. Grevthar off of Skarl now as the bubble does come in. They're trying to get at least one, but it will not be enough as Teton, he's going to thread the needle and take down the Silas at this point in time. As now he is just controlling so much space as the super fed Ezreal with red buff.
Now, the health bars here are still low. They're going to start this Baron up, but unfortunately with no equalizer available just yet, Vizitachi decides to back here. There's not going to be the heroic stand we saw from Peace just moments ago to stop this. It looks like we are finally going to have that Baron taken here 30 minutes in. Teton is 11-3-4 in this game. He's looking to finally finish off that tanky fourth item. He's already finished 2. Gets his tank item last here. And actually, no, he's going to go straight into the Guardian Angel. In fact, he decides to change that at the last moment because he knows that that extra damage is going to be so much more valuable. He's already so fed. This isn't an issue of survivability anymore. It's just about straight up carrying these fights and getting kills. He's got a strong enough front line with this cannon to set up the stuns as, Aladoric a bit far on the map.
Yeah, Aladoric is so dead. I mean, this is the most dead we have seen any one champion be in a little bit here. As Violet's like, yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Support. We're just going to have to let you down. He gets his own back off, and at least he will survive. But it's still going to be a nice little pick, denying some utility from the side of Peace, and should make this Red Bull Baron power play even stronger at this point in time.
Yeah, this is going to be so difficult to defend, if not impossible. I mean, we're at the stage, too, where Lucian is so low range. To get a pick, to get a flank angle, to try to actually do effective damage in this teamfight is going to be so difficult for Violet. I mean, look, he's just ulting here to slow down the push, and he might die for it.
Okay, the Equalizer gets a bit of damage, but I think it's not enough at this point in time. Titan is just gigantic right now as the kick comes in right into the open arms of Titan, who has a statement to make here in game number 1. The early laning phase as well wasn't even that fantastic, but he got a bunch of kills, and now he is just arcane shifting forward into the enemy. He's gonna get stunned up, maybe a little bit too far this time, but again, that GA is going to come in huge for him as he stays alive. Ego does go down, but the damage is here. It buys enough time for his team to get a frontline for him. As it's getting a little bit messy, we got Baron minions coming in as Tally and Aladoric are cleaning up shop. As we'll see if they do continue on this one. A lot of damage already done to this turret, and I'm not sure if Tally can actually stop them here, as Titan is quite literally just going to take everybody down one by one. The Nexus, not enough health to sustain against the damage that this Ezreal can do. Game 1 goes into the hands of the Red Cannons.
And it looked like a series start that you dream of, right? I mean, so many kills this game, so much action. There were very rarely 10 living players on the Rift, but at the end of the day, it's Titan who trades kills early, gets through. He shows everyone that Ezreal's not a late game champion. Ezreal is a mid game champion. Gets a few picks that were unnecessary. Piece overextending, becomes so fed. He picks up the GA there at the end, makes a statement, and closes out the game. Looks like a game that might be defined by how well this Kled does. The unusual counter pick matchup there into the Sylas. We got to see the Rumble top. We saw some great plays. Vizitaji, for the first time, actually having a stable laning phase here in this tournament, but it wasn't enough at the end of the day as the Ezreal just completely shuts them down. I think we're going to have to see some draft changes here, and I think we're going to see a lot of hype for the rest of the series to come, Valdez.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we talked about in the draft as well. There's a reason why Greftar is super happy. He got to play his